Spartiate! Quel est votre métier? Tu vois, vieux frère, j'ai amené plus de soldats que toi.
Once you conquer fear with faith and love, there will be no hesitation, there will be no surprises, and there will be no doubt. In the face of adversity, you will be certain.
C'est parti. La dernière partie du Mont Gelmir avant de rentrer dans le manoir. On a donc vaincu tranquillement la créature stellaire adulte.
When everyone else would understand if you fell apart. That is true strength. If you're going to stay in it, if you're going to win this fight, if you're going to overcome this enemy,
c'est quand même fou qu'il s'active aussitôt. Hein.
You're going to have to believe. You're going to need courage. You're going to need grit. You're going to need faith. Your courage must exceed the common sense of man. No man is free who cannot discipline himself. You will never have your destiny. You will never be able to afford your future unless you are disciplined.
Ah, j'ai pris.
If you're going to fulfill your purpose, you will suffer the pain of persecution. Not everyone will understand why you are staying in the fight. But if your vision is locked in, you will attain that which you seek. To win any battle, you must fight as if you are already dead. Our lives are so short. There is no time to waste. The approach to combat and everyday life should be the same. We lose in life because we fail to take it seriously. We think it is a game, when in reality, it is warfare. And you will either suffer the pain of regret or the pain of discipline. When a soldier enters into battle, a soldier is focused, disciplined, innovative, creative, and purposeful. If we will approach our everyday lives like a trained and dedicated soldier approaches battle, we will win and not just exist. Everything you do must have meaning. You must focus and practice discipline in every moment for every task. You must discipline your thinking. You must discipline your conversation. You must establish your goals and accomplish them. You must use strategy to create the best outcomes. Every thought, every word, every action has a specific purpose. You must master the day. You must approach your life like a trained and skilled soldier approaches warfare. Life is not a game. This will not be easy, but in the end, you will win. Fight like a dead man, like you're dead to your insecurities, like you're dead to your vulnerabilities, like you're dead to the pain of the past. Fight like a dead man. When a man fights like he's already dead, he's desperate, he's dangerous, he's disciplined. Fight for your life. Claw your way into your future. Fight for your goal. Give it everything you have because you have nothing to lose. To have An underdog mentality. Like everybody's already counted you out. Like everybody's already told you you don't have what it takes. You don't measure up. That what you started, you will not finish. When you fight as if you are already dead, you are without restraint. You are a disruptor. You break all the rules. Because you have nothing to lose. You are desperate for resurrection. And you will do anything that is required to accomplish the goal you are setting out to achieve. I choose to live by choice, not by chance. I live life by design and not by default. I am conscious. I am aware. I have been awakened. I am disciplined. I am detailed. I am meticulous. I am articulate. I am aggressive and intentional and assertive. I design my life. I refuse to whine and whimper over lemons. When life throws me lemons, I build a lemonade stand. I will learn from my mistakes. Every day, I live my life by design and not by default. Every day, my passion is reignited. Success is my obsession. I establish my boundaries. I pray and meditate. I speak my desires boldly. I choose to make changes and not excuses. I choose motivation over manipulation. I choose to excel and not compete. I choose self-esteem over self-pity. I choose to listen to the voice from within versus the voices from without. I choose to fulfill my destiny. I choose to get the job done. I choose to finish what I started.
Non. Non. Ah merde. Il y en a que j'arrive en une fois et c'est celui-là.
The poorest way to face life is to face it with a sneer. There are many men who feel a kind of twisted pride in cynicism. There are many who confine themselves to criticism of the way others do what they themselves dare not even attempt. There is no more unhealthy being, no man less worthy of respect than he who either really holds or feigns to hold an attitude of sneering disbelief toward all that is great and lofty.
Enfin.
Achievement or in that noble effort which, even if it fails, comes to second achievement. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena,
Attaque.
whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms.
Mais il se fout de ma gueule, hein.
Who spends himself in a worthy cause. Who, at the best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement. And who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly.
So this place.
So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls. Neither know victory nor defeat.
Salope. Avec mes gros bazars aussi.
The samurai always has to rise and move on, because new challenges will come. Your mind is your best weapon. This is the unwritten samurai code known as the Bushido. It is the guide for the samurai in life, battle, and death. It was the unwritten code of principles and morals and taught the samurai self-control and the proper use of their sword. The Bushido code's values on life, in keeping one's honor, loyalty, and compassion towards others are all things we can learn from and apply to our everyday lives. Here are the 8 virtues of the Bushido.
Et voilà.
Mercy.
Pas se faire chier.
Be acutely honest throughout your dealings with all people. Believe in justice, not from other people, but from yourself. Courtesy and good manners will always be noticed. One with the power to command must know how to demonstrate love, sympathy, and affection for others. These traits of benevolence is the highest quality in the human soul. Respect. True warriors have no reason to be cruel. They do not need to prove their strength. Warriors are courteous even to their enemies. Warriors are not only respected for their strength in battle, but also by their dealings with others. Courage. Hiding like a turtle in a shell is not living. A true warrior must have heroic courage. It is living life completely and wonderfully. Perceiving what is right and not doing it reveals lack of courage. True courage is doing what is right. Honor. Warriors have only one judge of honor and character, and this is themselves. You must earn the respect of others. It is not given. After respect is earned, you can bring honor to your name and reputation. The sense of honor, the vivid consciousness of personal dignity and worth, must be characterized in the samurai. Compassion. Through intense training and hard work, the true warrior becomes quick and strong. They develop a power that must be used for good. They have compassion. They go to help others at every opportunity. Justice. Justice is a core value of the samurai. When warriors say they will perform an action, it is as good as done. Nothing will stop them from completing. What they say, they do. They reflect on what is fair and uphold the value of upstanding moral character. Without justice, neither talent nor learning can mold a samurai. Loyalty. Warriors are responsible for everything they have done and all of the consequences that follow. They are loyal to all those in their care.
Pas trop beaucoup ça.
Self-control. Warriors
Putain.
abstain from negative temptations. The wrong and right are given, and one should know their difference. To master the ways of the samurai means to have true patience and bearing the unbearable.
Je le ferai plus tard. Hein.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Without consistency, you'll never finish. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams
Ici dans le coin.
Without goals are just dreams.
Je les affronterai tard, n'est-ce pas?
Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward.
Je pense que
Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that?
le cheval, c'est pas mauvais comme idée.
Because the 1,001st was the
J'ai envie
light
d'essayer, sinon je regarde.
Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed. And I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, You hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break.
Ah, il s'est énervé. Hein.
Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. So imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
Et bien voilà. Je le sais. Pause. Et
I just got
on a
back
le
from South
manoir.
Africa. It's a beautiful country. But there are places there with terrible poverty that need help. And
Jean
Africa
est
is just
revenu.
the tip of the iceberg. The Middle East needs your help. Japan needs your help. Alabama needs your help. Tennessee needs your help. Louisiana needs your help. Philadelphia needs your help. The world needs a lot, and we need it from you. We really do. We need it from you young people. I mean, I'm not speaking for the rest of us up here, but I know I'm getting a little grayer. We need it from you, the young people.
Voir en
Remember
bas.
this. You got to get out there.
Ce qu'on a
You
ici.
got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time,
Ouh.
your talent, your prayers,
Oui.
or your treasures. What are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors,
Attention
some of
ici,
you are theologians,
c'est
nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money.
Des
Some of you
araignées.
have patience. Some of you have kindness.
Il
Some of
faudrait,
you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering.
Ah oui, des flèches de feu,
whatever
mais-
your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have? All right, now here's my last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. I began at Fordham University as a pre-med student. I took a course called cardiac morphogenesis. I couldn't read it, I couldn't say it, I sure couldn't pass it. So then I decided to go into pre-law, then
C'est
journalism.
actif. toi.
And with no academic focus, my grades took off in their own direction. I was a 1.8 GPA, and the university very politely suggested that it might be better to take some time off. I was 20 years old, I was at my lowest point. And then one day, and I remember the exact day, March 27th, 1975, I was helping my mother in her beauty shop. My mother owned a beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. And there was this older woman who was considered one of the elders in the town. And I didn't know her personally, but I was looking in the mirror, and every time I looked at the mirror, I could see her behind me, and she was staring at me. She just kept looking at me. Every time I looked at her, she kept giving me these strange looks. So she finally took the dryer off her head and said something I'll never forget. She said, "Young boy, I
Putain.
have a prophecy, a spiritual prophecy." She said, "You are going to travel the world and speak to
Ah ouais, ben non. Ah, j'ai horreur de ça.
years that follow just as that woman prophesied. I have traveled the world and I have spoken to millions of people through my
Aller chercher des flèches de feu, hein. Ça va les calmer.
Up till this day couldn't see me. Who up till this day I couldn't see while I was talking to them, and they couldn't see me. They could only see the movie. They couldn't see the real me. But I see you today, and I'm encouraged by what I see. And I'm strengthened by what I see. Because taking risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. The chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, remember this.
How nice.
Fall forward.
How nice.
Where wolf's ears are, wolf's teeth are near. Even in the sheath, the sword must be sharp. So too must the mind and the spirit be within the body. There is more honor in accumulating little by little than in reaching for the sky and ending up flat on your face. A person's actions are often worse than their intentions. The bold succeed wheresoever they go. Ill is it to do the wrong and leave the right undone. Nothing good can happen to people who break their solemn vows. Word carries, though mouth stands still. Everyone has some friends, even among his enemies. Be kind to friend and kin, and reward not their trespasses against you. Oftentimes, it is not numbers that wins the victory, but those who fare forward with the most vigor. Bear and forth, and win for yourself. One should have their plans worked out before they enter into great undertakings.
9000.
Others to them.
9000.
Not every cloud which darkens the day brings rain. Bravery is half the victory. Many breakers of battle axes are more brag than brains. Often it is anger that is blind to the truth. The bold succeed wheresoever they go. Many travels, many fortunes. Every victorious warrior draws his strength from the highest source, his love. You're a warrior. Warriors don't give up. Warriors don't back down. Pick up your sword, your shield, and fight. Sweat more in training, bleeds less in war. The devil whispers,
Et doucement, les
you
filles.
can't withstand the storm. The warrior responds, I am the storm. No one has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Don't ever mistake a warrior's silence for ignorance, calmness for acceptance, and kindness for weakness. Warriors are not born. Warriors create themselves through trial and error, pain and suffering, and their ability to conquer their own faults. A warrior seeks to act rather than talk. To be a warrior is to learn to be genuine in every moment of your life. Warriors confront the evil that most people refuse to acknowledge. If you want to be strong, learn to fight alone. Warriors are not always the fastest or the strongest. Strength and speed can be developed through training. Warriors are those who choose to stand between their enemy and all that he loves. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Victory is reserved for those who are willing to pay its price. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night. And when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. A warrior's greatest enemy can also be his greatest teacher. The best fighter is never angry. Defeat exists, but not suffering. A true warrior knows that when he loses a battle, he is improving the skill in which he wields a sword. He will be able to fight more skillfully next time. Before you can see the light, you will have to deal with the darkness. Perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding on the 20th. Don't waste your time looking back. You're not going that way. Feed your focus.
Ah ouais, ouais.
Let pain
C'est des
be
grosses.
the motivation.
C'est peut-être bien 2 grosses en plus.
I do what I do because it is the right thing to do.
2.
I am a warrior, and it is the way of the warrior to fight
Ouh,
superior odds.
Ouh.
In fighting and in every day, you
Ah,
should
c'est
be
une bande de
determined,
rapaces.
though calm. Meet the situation without tenseness, yet not recklessly. Your spirit settled, yet unbiased. An elevated spirit is weak, and a low spirit is weak. Do not let the enemy see your spirit. You can only fight the way you practice. What is defeat? Nothing but education. Nothing but the first step to something better. Pain is not an excuse to quit. It is an indication that what you are doing counts. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You have to assemble your life yourself, action by action. A warrior may worry and think before making any decision, but once they make it, they go their way. Free from worries or thoughts. That's the warrior's way. Know yourself, and you will win all battles. Some people are lost in the fires. Others are forged in them. What defines us is how well we rise after falling. The true warrior isn't immune to fear. They fight in spite of it. A calm warrior is a mindful warrior, and a mindful warrior is a rational warrior. Yesterday's pain is strength.
Seigneur Aïkard, si ce chant de mort putride est le fruit de votre blasphème, alors je ne puis rester davantage. Personne ne le pourra.
The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering. This successful warrior
Et je vais m'arrêter ici pour aujourd'hui. Petite phase Elden Ring avant de dormir. On lève tôt demain. C'est bon, merci. Merci à ceux qui sont là. À demain ou à bientôt. Salutations.
If you would be a reader, read. If a writer, write. Events do not just happen, but arrive by appointment. Asked who is the rich man, Epictetus replied, he who is content. Either God wants to abolish evil and cannot, or he can but does not want to. We are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens to us. Know you not that a good man does nothing for appearance sake, but for the sake of having done right? It is better to die of hunger having lived without grief and fear, than to live with a troubled spirit.
Quelle drôle de créature.
Small-minded people blame others. Average people blame themselves. The wise see all blame as foolishness. Give me by all means the shorter and nobler life, instead of one that is longer, but of less account. No great thing is created suddenly. Men are not afraid of things, but of how they view them. If someone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself against the accusations, but reply, you obviously don't know about my other vices, otherwise you would have mentioned these as well. On the occasion of every accident that befalls you, remember to turn to yourself and inquire what power you have for turning it to use. may fetter my leg, but Zeus himself cannot get the better of my free will. Difficulty shows what men are. No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. Keep the prospect of death, exile, and all such apparent tragedies before you every day, especially death, and you will never have an abject thought or desire anything to excess. Epictetus, being asked how a man should give pain to his enemy, answered by preparing himself to live the best life that he can. What concerns me is not the way things are, but the way people think things are. Don't live by your own rules, but in harmony with nature. The essence of philosophy is that a man should so live that his happiness shall depend as little as possible on external things. Imagine for yourself a character, a model personality whose example you determine to follow, in private as well as in public. Whoever is going to listen to the philosophers needs a considerable practice in listening. If you would cure anger, do not feel it. Say to yourself, I used to be angry every day, then every other day, now only every third or fourth day. When you reach 30 days, offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving to the gods. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything, and even if you appear to be somebody important to others, distrust yourself. For it is difficult to both keep your faculty of choice in a state comfortable to nature, and at the same time acquire external things.
Bon, tu me butes.
But while you are careful about one, you must of necessity neglect the other. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he was ignorant to my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone. Only the educated are free. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them.
In salvetti.
First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. No man is free who is not master of himself. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has.
Moments.
Oh yes, it's true. Many people put it on the line. Many people get out there every day and do something that has never been done before. Many people out there put it on the line and do something special to help someone else. Why can't we recognize them? No matter where you go, no matter where you may be, someone is out there right now that is doing something far greater. And they're putting so much work in.
On répare les armes.
In this world. Why can't we honor them? Why can't we honor those servicemen and women? You have to consider the fact there are great doctors, there are great lawyers, there are great teachers, there are great mothers and fathers, there are great people in this world. We all are responsible for one another. We all have a duty. We all have to serve. Whether you wear a uniform or not, you have to serve. Can you be a serviceman? Can you be a servicewoman? Can you serve? Are you prepared to serve? Do you have the ability to serve? Don't make it about yourself. You have a duty. You have a responsibility. They didn't give up. Why should you? Keep moving. Keep believing. We are all one. Both far and near. We must serve. So this day, we honor the servicemen and women who put it on the line.
Ah bah ouais, il y avait le retour.
And if they make it home, and they have the ability to put their arms around their loved one, job well done. And there will be a new day. And that day starts a new opportunity. A new opportunity to make something else special happen.
A C student can justify anything, and the worst part about it, they can believe the excuse. Don't look at me like that. Some of you guys have been defeated already in your life. You're saying to yourself, you know what, I got a GED, nobody wants me. I used to be an alcoholic, nobody wants me. My own father used to tell me I was no good, nobody wants me. I'll just work this little dead-end job and we'll figure out what's next, because I don't have anywhere to go. Some of you guys can relate to what I'm saying. Somehow, some way, you've disqualified yourself. I work with so many people and I can relate to it. Nobody can beat you but you. Nobody can stop you but you. But the worst thing you can do is disqualify yourself. Now I'm 50 years old. I got a wife. I got kids. I got mortgages. I got bills. School is over. That's all about the real deal right now. You guys with me? Is there any excuse for an adult not to get an A out of life? So when you go to work, is there any excuse for you not to be an A manager? Is there any excuse for your store not to be an A store? Is there any excuse for you to go home and not to be an A husband? Is there any excuse for you not to be an A wife or a mom or a dad? Is there any excuse? Because we're not in middle school anymore. We're not in high school anymore. So on report card day, I came home and I would sit down with my mom and dad and I would make excuses about my seat. Well, Mom, you know, I don't like the teacher, Mom, and the teacher doesn't like me. That's why she gave me a seat. You know, my mom would say, that teacher didn't give you nothing. You earned it. Nobody can stop you but you. You know, I had a goal of playing in India. I got this.
On comprend que dalle, il va exploser. Et je vais sûrement me le prendre. Ah ouais.
If you set a goal and you make the intention that you're going to get there, do you know that you writing it down and looking at it every single day, you're 7 times more likely to achieve that goal? This is America, ladies and gentlemen. It can happen to you, it can happen for you, but you gotta write these goals down, plain up on tablets, so they can be seen by men, and that woman is you. My father said, write your goals down, son, and I wrote them down. I said, Dad, I'm gonna play in the NBA, and That's your problem, son. Your value system's screwed up. You're smart. This family's about being a student athlete. Rewrite your goals tomorrow and give them to me. He didn't yell at me. He didn't browbeat me. He didn't criticize me. He said, son, that's your problem. Your value system is screwed up. Redo them and give them to me tomorrow. You know, some of you guys can have more in life with your value system. You're more excited about Facebook and Instagram. But some of you guys, it's good. When I go to work, man, I can't wait to talk. My father taught me something very valuable. But you know what? You will dwell in what you dwell on.
On va péter, on se casse.
You will dwell in what you dwell on. If you dwell on marijuana, you will dwell in marijuana. And you will get the weed.
Prends du feu, hein.
Reward. I thought about it the other day. I'm from Chicago. I've never been to a thug retirement party. Have you?
Et que fait-il?
I've never been to a thug retirement party.
Et viens, mon
I guess
pote.
I have. They're called funerals. What you dwell in, you dwell on.
Ouais, j'ai pas bien compris ce
Make
qu'ils
sure
disaient.
your value system is good. Make sure your value system makes sense. People say all the time, well, what's most important to you? God, family, work. And I know what you're going to write down, but it's got to be real in your heart. Does that make sense? What was in my heart was sports, and that's no lie. My father said, redo your value system, son. It's screwed up. I redid it the next day. I said, Dad, you ready? Yeah. Okay, Dad. I'm going to graduate college in 4 years. I'm going to play in NBA. Anybody know why I ducked? My dad had a nice backhand. I said, I'm going to play in NBA. That's what I said. I'm going to make more money in business than I did in sports. You know what my father said? I like it, son. I like it. I want you to take those goals out and look at them every single day. Before I knew it, that 2.1 turned into a 2.9. Before I knew it, I got selected to be president of a journalism club, captain of the homecoming committee. Before I knew it, people began to recognize me not as an athlete, but as a leader in school.
Ah bon, il explose maintenant, lui.
I wanted a 3.0. I'm gonna get a 3.0. I'm gonna get a 3.0. And they were like, Walter, it's mathematically impossible. You know what I'm talking about? So I got as high as I can get. A 2.9. And I realized, you know what? I could have had a 3.0 easy if I would have taken advantage and been a little bit more mature in my past life. Some of you guys need to hear what I'm saying to you right now. Some of you guys used to be immature in your past life. Can I get a witness? Now you're not in middle school anymore. You're not in high school. Childhood is over. Would you agree? And grown men and grown women think a certain way, operate a certain way, and have a certain mindset and mentality. I want you to understand you are a part of a legacy. You've heard about your mom's story. You heard about your dad's story. Now it's time for you to build your story. My father was a sharecropper in Tennessee. I heard all the stories my dad would tell me being a young black boy in Tennessee. He said, son, I got called the N-word so many times, I began to think it was my first name. But I busted my butt for you, son. I busted my butt. I went back to college for you, son. I got educated for you, son. Everything I do is for you, son. See, right now, I want you to understand you are a part of a legacy. Many of you guys, your mom made sacrifices for you. Your dad made sacrifices for you. Now it's time for you to grab the bull by the horns and impact your legacies. Everybody with me? Your mom and dad have this story. Your grandfather, your grandmother has his and her story. Now you are building your story. I was at a track meet one day, and I was watching a 4x1 relay. And I love a 4x1 relay because that first sprinter takes off with the baton in their hand, and they run as hard as they can, as fast as they can, and when they get to the next athlete, they yell, stick! And the next athlete takes off running, but they reach back. They just reach back a little bit. Then they run as hard as they can, as fast as they can, for 100 meters, and then they yell, stick! And it's so important to make a successful handoff, because if you don't make a successful handoff, you are disqualified. And the next athlete's turn is to run as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and then they yell, stick! And they hand it to the anchor. That anchor is Carl Lewis. That anchor is Flojo. That anchor is Usain Bolt. And that last one,
No, yeah.
they come around that curve, and all you see is elbows, form, and they come down and cross that finish line. Oh! So I was at this track meet, and I saw them handing this baton. They kept yelling, stick! 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 Your father might be from Russia. Your grandfather might be from Cuba, Colombia. I don't know where they're from, but let me tell you something. At some point, they're gonna yell, stick! And that baton's in your hand. So we don't have time to be silly anymore, would you agree? We don't have time to play games anymore, would you agree? You gotta get that baton in your hand. You gotta run as hard as you can, as fast as you can. And every day in that car in the morning, my dad would just talk to me. Like, son, I'm from Tennessee, son. Education is very valuable. You cannot devalue education the way you... Education is important, son. That's the way out. Education, working hard. Education, getting trained. Smart families are training and development organizations masquerading as a family. Mom, Dad, you were head trainers of the family.
Oh yeah. Oh baby. Sucré.
Go get it, be sweet, baby.
Et allez, on explose.
Go get it, be sweet, baby. Go get it, be sweet, baby. Every time I left the house, my mom would say, be sweet, baby, be sweet. My dad would say, go get it, son, go get it. Go get it, son, go get it, be sweet, go get it, be sweet, go get it, be sweet, go get it, be sweet. My family had two core values. Go get it, son. Be sweet, baby. I used to go into class and say,
Il ne me voit pas, hein. Putain d'enfoiré.
You know, if the average person thinks the same exact way, they can do more.
Bon, je lui fais rien, hein, avec mes flèches.
If they believe more.
Et on pète. J'ai pas envie qu'il explose.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light.
Ben voilà. Je dirais pas que c'était difficile. Je ne dirais pas ça.
Because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in the green bay. Rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light.
We all have things that we're believing for, dreams that we want to accomplish, problems we're hoping will turn around. Maybe it's to see our family restored, to lose some weight, to break an addiction, to start our own business.
Allez, viens, Anastasia.
Month after month, even year after year, we don't see anything changing. It's easy to get discouraged and think, it's never going to happen. This is as good as it gets. I'll just learn to live with it.
Tu disais quoi?
Through disappointments, setbacks, loss, pain is a part of life. It's easy to get discouraged, even bitter. Think, why is this happening to me? Sometimes we look at pieces in our lives that don't make sense. The key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Heartache, loss, disappointments, they don't leave us the same. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. Eventually, that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different. In those tough times, when you're uncomfortable, going through a loss, dealing with an illness, you could easily let it overwhelm you. Now, how the pain changes you is up to you. You can come out bitter, or you can come out better. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. I may not like it, but I'm not a whiner, I'm a warrior. I know I can handle this. Don't complain about the pain. Without the pain, we couldn't reach the fullness of our destinies. Sometimes we bring pain on ourselves. We make poor choices, get in a relationship we know is not good, or maybe get over our head in our spending. Now it's painful. We're having to deal with the consequences. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop.
Alors ici on va s'amuser. Ah mais je suis déjà venu non?
Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm.
Ouais, je suis déjà.
But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain.
Oh ouais, je suis déjà venu. Non, je suis jamais venu. Et chier, j'ai 3 sœurs. 3 sœurs à battre, c'est la merde. Créature de merde.
Now quit telling yourself you can't take it. You're not weak. You are well able. Eventually the pain will pass. You'll give birth to new strength. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And there will always be forces trying to convince us to settle where we are. Life has a way of pushing our dreams.
Vraiment une zone casse-couille.
They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. What are you remembering?
Vraiment, je me tape ici, je m'en fous, c'est des créatures de merde.
Turn it around and remember your dream. Have you allowed any
Et on fait la tarlouse.
At one time, you believed you could do something great.
Attiré par le bruit, c'est parfait. Et on va pas se faire chier.
It's been a long time. Had some bad breaks. Wasn't all your fault. You could easily settle where you are. Nobody would fault you. The enemy would love to deceive you.
Vous pouvez accélérer parce que hein,
thinking that it's never going to work out.
on va prendre le temps qu'il faut. Mais c'est un peu fumé comme personnage. Persanoïde en plus, les 3 anoïdes. C'est super résistant.
You wouldn't be having that opposition if you didn't have something great in you. If your dream wasn't alive and on track, right on schedule to come to pass, you wouldn't have so many things coming against you. That dream is still alive. You may have tried a year ago, 5 years ago, or 40 years ago. Didn't work out. Nobody was there to help you. Go back and try again. This is your time. This is your moment. Your destiny is calling out to you. Can I tell you, your dream is not dead, it's just not in season. Your time is coming. Promotion is coming. Good breaks are coming. Promises you've been standing on. Dreams you've been praying about. Lack is not your destiny. Constantly struggling, barely getting by is not the end of your story. These light afflictions are for a moment. The adversity is temporary.
J'allais voir là-bas aussi.
There are some dreams shut up in you. Like fire, you're going to feel your destiny calling out. May not have happened the first time. The loan didn't go through. You didn't get chosen for the part. The medical
si je me barrais.
That's okay.
Ouais, c'est bien.
It's still in you. This is your time. This is your moment. Shake off the doubt. Shake off the negativity. You're at the right place. You're at the right time. Now all you've got to do is get in the right frame of mind. Lord, I believe this is my year to get healthy and whole. This is my year to meet the people of my dreams. This is my year to go further in my career, to step into a new level of my destiny. This is my year to accomplish dreams, to break free from this depression. This is my year to meet the right people. This is my year to get healthy and whole. This is your year to see double. This is your year for vindication, for restoration, for new beginnings. Now get your mind going in the right direction.
What starts here changes the world.
Ah, le meilleur...
Suggestions that may help you on your way to a better world.
Peut-être bien le meilleur
And while
morceau.
these lessons were learned during my time in the military, I can assure you that it matters not whether you ever served a day in uniform. It matters not your gender, your ethnic or religious background, your orientation, or your social status. Our struggles in this world are similar, and the lessons to overcome those struggles and to move forward, changing ourselves and changing the world around us, will apply equally to all. So here are the 10 lessons I learned from basic SEAL training that hopefully will be of value to you as you move forward in life. Every morning in SEAL training, my instructors, who at the time were all Vietnam veterans, would show up in my barracks room, and the first thing they'd do was inspect my bed. If you did it right, the corners would be square, the covers would be pulled tight, the pillow centered just under the headboard, and the extra blanket folded neatly at the foot of the rack. It was a simple task, mundane at best, but every morning we were required to make our bed to perfection. It seemed a little ridiculous at the time, particularly in light of the fact that we were aspiring to be real warriors, tough, battle-hardened SEALs. But the wisdom of this simple act has been proven to me many times over. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made. That you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. So if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. During SEAL training, the students are all broken down into boat crews. Each crew is 7 students, 3 on each side of a small rubber boat, and 1 coxswain to help guide the dinghy. Every day, your boat crew forms up on the beach and is instructed to get through the surf zone and paddle several miles down the coast. In the winter, the surf off San Diego can get to be 8 to 10 feet high, and it is exceedingly difficult to paddle through the plunging surf unless everyone digs in. Every paddle must be synchronized to the stroke count of the coxswain. Everyone must exert equal effort, or the boat will turn against the wave and be unceremoniously dumped back on the beach. For the boat to make it to its destination, everyone must paddle. You can't change the world alone. You will need some help. And to truly get from your starting point to your destination takes friends, colleagues, the goodwill of strangers, and a strong coxswain to guide you. If you want to change the world, find someone to help you paddle. Over a few weeks of difficult training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew, we called them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys, from every corner of the nation and the world, always had the last laugh.
C'est quoi ça?
Swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us.
Film des genres là-bas?
SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed, not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not by the size of their flippers. Several times a week, the instructors would line up the class and do a uniform inspection. It was exceptionally thorough. Your hat would be perfectly starched, your uniform immaculately pressed,
Merci.
your belt buckle shiny and void of any smudges. But it seemed that no matter how much effort you put into starching your hat, or pressing your uniform, or polishing your belt buckle, it just wasn't good enough. The instructors would find something wrong. For failing the uniform inspection, the student had to run, fully clothed, into the surf zone. Then wet from head to toe, roll around on the beach until every part of your body was covered with sand. The effect was known as sugar cookie. You stayed in the uniform the rest of the day, cold, wet, and sandy. There were many a student who just couldn't accept the fact that all their efforts were in vain, that no matter how hard they tried to get the uniform right, it went unappreciated. Those students didn't make it through training. Those students didn't understand the purpose of the drill. You were never going to succeed. You were never going to have a perfect uniform. The instructors weren't going to allow it. Sometimes, no matter how well you prepare or how well you perform, you still end up as a sugar cookie. It's just the way life is sometimes. If you want to change the world, get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. Every day during training, you were challenged with multiple physical events: long runs, long swims, obstacle courses, hours of calisthenics, something designed to test your mettle. Every event had standards, times you had to meet. If you failed to meet those times, those standards, your name was posted on a list, and at the end of the day, those on the list were invited to a circus. A circus was 2 hours of additional calisthenics, designed to wear you down, to break your spirit, to force you to quit. No one wanted a circus. A circus meant that for that day, you didn't measure up. A circus meant more fatigue, and more fatigue meant that the following day would be more difficult, and more circuses were likely. But at some time during SEAL training, everyone made the circus list. But an interesting thing happened to those who were constantly on the list. Over time, those students who did 2 hours of extra calisthenics got stronger and stronger. The pain of the circuses built inner strength and physical resiliency.
Et ici on a le bastion.
You will fail. You will likely fail often. It will be painful.
Il y a le sens du détail dans ce jeu, c'est quand même fou. Là on a plateau Altus.
At least twice a week, the trainees were required to run the obstacle course. The obstacle course contained 25 obstacles, including a 10-foot wall, a 30-foot
cartwheel,
a barbed wire crawl, to name it. But the most challenging obstacle was the slide for life. It had a 3-level, 30-foot tower at one end and a 1-level tower at the other.
Ouais, on avait pris le raccourci pour. On a fait le tour. On a complètement. Mon Gelmir. Je suis à 38 000. Je crois que c'est bien de. Ce serait bien. D'utiliser nos runes pour un niveau, moi.
He bravely mounted the top of the rope and thrust himself forward. It was a dangerous move, seemingly foolish and fraught with risk. Failure could mean injury and being dropped from the course. Without hesitation, the student slid down the rope perilously fast. Instead of several minutes, it only took him half that time. And by the end of the course, he had broken the record. If you want to change the world, sometimes you have to slide down the obstacles head first. During the land warfare phase of training, the students are flown out to San Clemente Island, which lies off the coast of San Diego. The waters off San Clemente are a breeding ground for the great white sharks. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. As Navy SEALs, one of our jobs is to conduct underwater attacks against enemy shipping. We practice this technique extensively during training. The ship attack mission is where a pair of SEAL divers is dropped off outside an enemy harbor and then swims well over 2 miles underwater, using nothing but a depth gauge
J'ai un peu la force.
and a compass to get to the target. During the entire swim, even well below the surface, there is some light that comes through.
Petite pause 15 minutes et on reprendra ici dans le manoir.
But as you approach the ship,
Merci à ceux qui sont là et à
the
toutes.
light begins to fade. The steel structure of the ship blocks the moonlight. It blocks the surrounding street lamps. It blocks all ambient light. To be successful